Folks, recently the Tampa Bay Buccaneers released longtime kicker Ryan Succop. He was with the team for 3 seasons, and overall he had a pretty good run. He won the Super Bowl with the Buccaneers. He was overall a pretty accurate kicker for this Buccaneers team, and he was certainly loved by a good amount of fans. But the release did make sense. It was a move to free up salary cap. The Buccaneers have been dealing with so many different types of salary cap limitations this offseason that some tough decisions had to be made, and Ryan Succop was one of those tough decisions. I said it in the video when he was released, and I'll say it again here. There was a reason the Buccaneers waited so long to release Ryan Succop, because that's not an easy decision to make based on everything that Succop has been for the Buccaneers at the kicker position. And I did a poll recently, just a couple of days ago, where 1.7 thousand people voted in. Thank you guys so much for that. And hey, if you guys are new, go ahead and subscribe and hit the like button if you do enjoy this video. But 1.7 thousand people voted in that poll as to whether or not they agreed or disagreed with the release of Ryan Succop. Did the Tampa Bay Buccaneers make a mistake? That was the question that I proposed, and we're going to be talking about that question in this video today, because it is a pretty legitimate question whenever you look at the circumstances, because Ryan Succop was an incredibly accurate kicker for the Buccaneers. In fact, throughout his entire 3 years in Tampa Bay, he had a career field goal percentage of 84.4%. That's pretty darn good. Now, it did decline throughout the years. In year 1, he was at 90.3%. In year 2, he was at 83.3%. And then in year 3, he was at 81.6%. It did get worse as the years went on, but overall, considering the context and the circumstances of the Buccaneers and their kicking situation, that was pretty much a godsend, because since the release of Matt Bryant way long ago, for those Bucs fans who do actually remember, the Buccaneers had revolved around so many kickers in this never-ending spinning door that they were averaging 1 new kicker per year. Now, that's pretty darn impressive, and it just goes to show the lengths that this team went through to find a new dependable long-term kicker on their roster, and how often they failed at it. And they finally struck gold with Ryan Succop. He was there for 3 years, was incredibly solid. You guys all know the Super Bowl run. He was 9 of 9 on his field goals, 12 of 13 on his extra point attempts. He was absolute money, and he was a big reason as to why the Buccaneers have been such a successful team the past couple of seasons. But the one note that a lot of people have made on Succop and his abilities as a kicker, and even Todd Bowles said this towards the end of the year, which was kind of a smoking gun in terms of the eventual release of Ryan Succop, was his ability to kick 50-plus yard field goals. Now, before we dive into that, I want to talk about him from 49 and under, because Ryan Succop was a beast. Like, just point blank, simple as that. The dude was hitting a lot of kicks, and I want to break it down a little bit. So, in terms of 40 to 49 yard field goal attempts, Ryan Succop was 26 of 31. In terms of 30 to 39 yard field goal attempts during his time with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he was 23 of 25. And then finally, in terms of 20 to 2019, or 20 to 29 in terms of yardage for field goal attempts, he was 31 of 32. That's pretty darn good, I think. I think that that is a very respectable, very accurate number, full pun intended there, of the ability that Succop was able to show below 50 yards. Now, where it gets interesting is the 50-plus yard range, because Ryan Succop, during his time with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, was only 3 of 10, 30% on 50-plus yard field goals. And when you look at some of the better kickers around the league, Will Lutz, Jake Elliott with the Philadelphia Eagles, I believe, you look at Matt Prater, you look at Justin Tucker, of course, obviously, he's the GOAT. You look at Carlson from the Raiders, and McPherson, I believe is his name, from the Cincinnati Bengals. Those are guys that can not just get you field goals from underneath 50, they are guys that can hit clutch game-winning field goals from 50 plus as well. It is always good to have that little bit of extra range whenever you are attempting field goals, because, you want your guy to be able to hit from any length of the field and not be limited. Now, there is a little bit of a give and take with that. Some people may say, well, it's not necessarily important to hit from 50 plus, and that is certainly, I feel, a somewhat reasonable point. It's not always the end of the world if you don't have a guy who can hit from 50 plus. If you have a guy that can really nail it like what Succop was doing below 50 yards, but it certainly helps. And whenever you think about the money that the Buccaneers were paying Succop, that is the type of money that you do pay a guy who can really hit it from any type of range. And Succop struggled with, I think it's fair to say, 46, 45 yards and above. I think that's fair to say. And whenever you do have kickers in today's NFL that are top flight kickers that are making that above $3 million price tag, you do want to get guys who are able to nail those types of kicks. So it will be interesting to see what the Buccaneers do. Where it becomes potentially a mistake is that you are messing with what was at least perceived by most to be a good thing. Succop was solid. He was accurate. Maybe you could have gotten a restructured deal done. Maybe it didn't need to result in a release. And it's a pretty big gamble and risk for the Buccaneers in an offseason that is kind of full of that a little bit right now in terms of gambles and potential risks that the Buccaneers are taking. It's going to be a little bit of a gamble with Baker Mayfield and Kyle Trask. It's going to be a possible gamble with moving Tristan Wirfs from right tackle to left tackle. It's going to be a gamble getting rid of Ryan Succop because it's far from a guarantee that you can get a guy again that is going to give you the ability and the accuracy that Succop gave you. So we're just going to have to wait and see what the Buccaneers do. They do have a kicker on the roster right now. I believe it's Jake Verity. I could be 100% wrong about that, but I do know the Buccaneers do have a kicker that is already on their roster, and it will be interesting to see what he can possibly do. It is Jake Verity, by the way, which he hasn't necessarily had the most extensive time in the NFL already. I don't believe he's actually played any regular season snaps in the NFL so far up to this point. So it is definitely understandable and probably likely that the Buccaneers are going to bring in a little bit of competition for Jake Verity and probably have a new kicker entirely. Well, of course they'll have a new kicker entirely, but I mean a brand new, completely guy outside of the organization come in and probably be their kicker. But it is a gamble, it is a risk, and we'll have to see if that cost-cutting move pays off for the Buccaneers. Now, I want to get to this poll because this was really interesting to me. I asked, do you think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers releasing Ryan Succop was a good idea? There were two answers in this poll, yes and no, and the results were pretty darn interesting. 1.7 thousand people, 49% said yes, 51% said no, so just 1% away from being boom, dead tie, straight down the middle. And I think that that is a reasonable take to have because it's really anybody's guess at this point. It could work out very well for the Buccaneers. And there are good supporting points and arguments for both sides. Do you want to mess with a good thing? Why would you mess with a good thing? Hey, Ryan Succop can't hit the long field goals. It saves money, and the Buccaneers can get younger at the position. Those are the contesting points, and at the end of the day, there isn't necessarily a perfect answer. We will just have to wait and see if it pans out for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and this is definitely going to be something that is worth paying attention to moving forward because it could have a pretty big impact. I know people like to think that kicker doesn't matter and da-da-da-da-da, but I'll tell you what, if the Buccaneers do have a bad kicker and this move doesn't pan out for them, I think a lot of Bucs fans are going to be reminded of and missing Ryan Succop a lot sooner rather than later if this doesn't work. But what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. I'd love to hear them. By the way, why don't you guys just go check out the recent video here on the screen. It is some more Buccaneers news, some very, very interesting content to keep you up to date on your favorite team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If you guys are new, go ahead and subscribe. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. And I will see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.